And you're not nearly as worried about a possible recession as we had Lazier on, Ed Lazier earlier on Squawk Box. He puts it not as high as 50-50 next year, but he's much more concerned than he was 3 months ago. You make the point that it's hard to fall when you're already down this low. Don't you remember 1980 and 82? You can have a recession after a recession. We're not guaranteed to only go up from here.
I guess you're right, Joe, but you could just say that that double dip was really just one big long recession. But the recession we just came through, the 2008-2009 recession, there's a reason they call it the Great Recession. It was a near depression, and we've had almost no recovery from it. So that's not to say that we couldn't have a slowdown. That's not to say you couldn't have macro numbers weakening. Heck, we're seeing that right now. I'm just saying we've just got to give up on these old words like recession and expansion and recovery and slowdown, because they don't mean what they've meant the rest of our career. You look at these job numbers from month to month. Everybody flipped out a couple Fridays ago when we had, whatever it was, 75,000 instead of 150,000. What, are you telling me that if we'd had 150,000 it would have been great?
No, I'm telling you.
We've gotten so used to not great, forget about painful. What could happen now?
The guy comes into office in January of 09 at 7.8. The entire presidency is spent above 8%. We get to 8.1. In the last report, we go to 8.2, and it may be headed back up. 8.1 is going to be the low?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
No, what if it is? Then
I'm just saying. Let's say we go to 8.5. So we go from 8 to 8.5. You want to bother to call that a recession? Feel free. You can use words however you want, but that's not what I think of as a recession.
Don, I think if you look at the shrinking workforce there, that number was probably be higher as a ratio. So I think it is kind of significant, and it's certainly not good for the president. And we haven't seen incumbents really have any sort of a good time.
I never said it was insignificant. I said it was insignificant. I said we've just got to give up on our daddy's definition of what business cycles are. And when you've been in an L-shaped recovery, it's just pretty hard to go sharply down.
Don, that's part of the problem, that L-shaped recovery. We should be doing much better.
Of course we should. But that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Brian? What do you feel? You're not that scared either, are you?
Well, I mean, I could certainly create the case where we would have a double dip recession. I mean, the word recession was invented in 1937-38 when we had a recession of the Depression. So, and the signs are there. But for now, as long as Ben Bernanke is in office, he spent his whole career studying how to print money, and he'll print money and drive asset prices higher. Could we get another 2 to 3% lower? Certainly. But as long as they want to print money, who am I to fight the Fed? I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I'm just saying I'm not going to fight the Fed.
Don, you do make a couple of points. Oil price, I mean, that's like a big tax cut. And then I like your analysis about the fiscal cliff. At least it focuses the Obama administration on what it would mean if taxes were to go up. I mean, that's the last thing they need at this point, right? So that might be
so we have a couple of nice automatic stabilizers here. Okay, you get the oil price low enough, people might actually even buy an SUV. Who knew? And certainly when Obama has to reverse himself and admit that the economy is absolutely not fine, that pretty much takes the wind out of his sails for going for tax hikes. So maybe a weaker economy here is our best friend, because it'll keep a lot of really dumb mistakes from happening later this year.
Michael Farr, the Veep hasn't been picked yet. You still got that hair. A lot of times we see you with the Capitol building behind you. Are you going to that retreat? No, I know you don't have to answer that. You don't
Joe, there's certain things I'm not at liberty to talk about at this point.
I understand.
As hair goes, I also happen to know your name's on the list, and so I don't think any of the viewers would be surprised to see a blank Kernan ticket.
Michael,
I mean,
Michael, are you buying, dividend stocks? Are you out? Where are you?
No, I mean, I'm always in, Joe, but I think we've got a rocky road ahead of us. And, yes, I buy dividend stocks right now. And I think if you take a look at the best way to navigate how to get through this sort of turmoil, stuff that's paying you dividend, lots of solid balance sheet, good, strong cash flow, not too much debt. This is kind of a time, I think, where we have to figure out how you survive markets like this. And it's really enticing to get pulled in, sucked into the risk trade, right? I mean, the Fed shows up, and all of a sudden you got the high beta stocks taking off again, and it's not what Fred and Ethel ought to be doing. I'm responsible for a lot of Fred and Ethel money, so I tend to make more conservative decisions.
Brian, you see stocks go up with bad news. I mean, the bank stocks are all up after hours, but Is it going up on bad news, or are they just going up because everyone knew this was going to happen anyway, and they're still not going, going anywhere?
Well, I actually think it was good news, right? I mean, the market's priced in the worst case scenario, particularly for Morgan Stanley. Market's priced in a 3-notch downgrade. They didn't get it. That's really the only surprise. I mean, I don't think it's breaking news, clearly, that Moody's downgraded. If that's breaking news, I'll get another one for you. Lincoln was shot. I mean, this is not anything brand new whatsoever. This is how stocks react. This is how markets react. That's why it is difficult to invest, because it is not logical. Bad
but
news
it's one
is good.
more not good thing. I'm sorry, it's one more not good thing, one more negative piece of information that has people concerned about the banks again.
We've known about this since January.
We're going. One thing you didn't know about Lincoln was he was apparently a vampire hunter. I'm finding
well,
out.
I just found that out myself.
Oh, but look, give it another 12 years, and maybe Moody's will finally downgrade Lincoln.
Right.
I mean, come on, this is a joke.
Right. All right, gentlemen. Thank